Welcome back to another episode. This is Layla Rose, and so today we're going to be discussing spiritual paranoia and how to protect ourselves against the spiritual warfare. So this topic is very near and dear to my heart because this is something that I went through for years, but especially for a full year, I felt like I was being spiritually attacked on a daily basis. And I tried to seek out the help of so many practitioners to the point where, I was going insane, and even physically, like I didn't look like myself. It was just horrible. And I felt like no one could relate to me. That's what it felt like, because I was like, I'm going insane. And I feel like this is something that happens a lot to women that are very spiritual, that are, psychics, or just spiritual in general, that are on their, healing path or a healing journey. And I noticed as well that a lot of people who go through these things, and even men as well, so women and men, what usually happens is that they are not able to figure out how to, free themselves from that spiritual warfare, like all these attacks, right? Because it feels like you're being attacked from everywhere and it just doesn't stop. A lot of them just turn to Christianity. When you hear those stories, and they're all the same, you're gonna notice a pattern. They're all the same. When people are like, I used to be into spirituality and tarot and crystals and blah blah blah, and I was having all these nightmares and all these spiritual attacks and psychic attacks actually, and these sleep paralysis, when you're being paralyzed when you sleep. Yeah, okay. So all these like demonic shit, happening to them, and they were going insane, which I get, because I've been through it, and it's not fun, and you feel like you're literally going insane, and it's hard to seek out help, because for people who are not spiritual, or at least who don't get what's happening, they're just gonna think you're crazy, and you're gonna be locked up. You're gonna be put on meds, basically. And so a lot of people just turn to Christianity, and then they're like, Jesus, saved me, and Jesus is my king and my savior, right? Which, by the way, when you start searching what Jesus means, a lot of people think it was like this dude, right? But the word Jesus means to deliver, to free. So basically, when someone asks Jesus to save them or help them, they're using their own free will to basically say that they want to be liberated from all these psychic attacks, But it's not done in a way that is powerful, because you're still worshiping a man, you're worshiping someone else. But obviously it works to, remove all these, nightmares and all these symptoms that you're going through, because you're basically saying out loud, you're using your own free will. That's how powerful you are. To free yourself from these, But obviously you're freeing yourself from these symptoms, but you're not integrating your shadows, you're not integrating your demons, so they're just being hidden somewhere very, very, very deep into your subconscious, but they're still there. And that's why we see a lot of religious people that are also bad people, right, that are pretending to be good on Sundays, and then when you know them personally, you're like, this person is an actual monster, So yeah, so that's why. That is why it doesn't heal you. You're just, liberated from these symptoms, but you're not liberated from this slave consciousness of, worshiping someone above you, basically. So what's happening basically when we go through something like that is that there are 3 different phases to heal, right? So feeling any type of discomfort, so like having these symptoms, for example, is a sign that there are things in your subconscious that want to be transmuted or acknowledged or integrated. And so a lot of these psychic attacks are actually caused by our own inner demons. When you're going through it, because I know it feels like it's out there, right? It feels like people are out there to get you. You know, when you're going through, for example, a legal case, right? You're being sued. It feels like an outer threat. It feels like someone went out of their way to sue you. So it doesn't feel like it's coming from you. And you're like, why would I want to do this to myself? Why would I want to hurt myself emotionally and financially, right? But again, especially if you're a woman and you have a womb, all these spiritual attacks are actually caused by your inner demons in your womb that are subconscious, okay? So that first phase which is where most people are, is denial. It's when all these inner demons are just hidden in the dark somewhere in your psyche or in your womb, depending if you're, a man or a woman. So these signs of discomfort are actually a good sign because you can, it tells you basically that, oh, there's a demon that wants to be acknowledged. That's what it means. That's all that it means. But obviously it's very uncomfortable. You might feel like you're having like a panic attack sometimes when it happens. You might feel like your hands are like sweaty, your heart is pumping really fast, or you feel like you're being watched, by you're just being watched, right? Or you're just, yeah. That's why we call it spiritual paranoia, because it creates all those symptoms. And you're not crazy. Obviously this is really happening to you, but again, it's coming from you, so you have the power to make it stop, but in a way that is healing. So when this process is happening, basically, this is what happens when you're afraid of your own divinity and your own power. So the only way you can heal from this is to actually heal, to accept, right? So to acknowledge those demons, and even like a step further, to when you start to become friends with them and you start collaborating with them, this is when things get better in your life, because you can ask them, for example, to change the rule of the game. You can be like, you know what? You've been feeding off of me, like being stressed about money all the time, right? And then with the art of divination, you can talk to that demon. And then that demon is going to be like, yeah, I'm feeding off your sleepless nights, your stress, and your worry, right? But you can ask that demon, are you willing to change the rules of that game? Are you willing to work with me, and actually exchange, instead of these, these emotions, can we use, pleasure, fun, excitement, peace? Can you feed off these types of emotions for once, right? And, you're going to be having this conversation with that demon. And that's something that I teach, by the way. Inside the Unstuck workshop that I have, there's a module called Practical Alchemy. And that's what it is. I explain to you step by step how to do that and how to it's step by step, basically. Instead of just telling you like alchemize it, you just have this like practical guide to do it. And then the last step is transcendence. So once you've acknowledged that you're the one creating this reality, you're the one creating those psychic attacks, those events in your life that are uncomfortable or just painful or however it is, right? Then I take you to these practical steps where we transcend it into whatever the fuck that you want in your life. Like whatever you want more love, more prosperity, more freedom, anything, it's going to be alchemized and transmuted into that, right? And so what else can I say that can be, because obviously that's a podcast, like it's, I wish I could like show you, but again, this is something that I teach within the Unstuck workshop. But you're basically acknowledging, you know, and saying that you're not afraid of the dark. You've created that illusion that your will is done, and you're reclaiming this power, your power actually. And the beauty of that is that once you start working with your demons, you can even ask them like, hey, do you want to play a game where we get rich like really quick? Or do you want to play a game where we get married, like, you know, I mean, obviously with someone that is aligned, you know, but let's play this game where we get married into this like super healthy, conscious partnership and relationship. Like, do you want to play that game? So you have fun. Like, you know, when you play with your friend, you know, as a kid, right? You play like that with your demons. And so once you start to have this type of relationship, then your life completely changes. And I wish I had this type of information before, because I had to go through like 3, you know, suicide attempts. Like, it was so intense. So that's why I feel like I've been through all of it. Like, I've been through these like really intense events, and I had to like figure out how to like, you know, escape these. Because now I'm able to teach it. Like, and I know what it feels like. You feel like you go insane, especially if you start talking to people and they just keep on repeating the same generic shit. Like, you know, just, you know, love and light, and, you know, don't think about it too much, or, you know, God is good, or whatever the fuck people say. Like, it doesn't do shit, right? And it just invalidates your problems. And that's actually the purpose of them being in your life. They have to invalidate you and create even more pain, so that it becomes so uncomfortable that you have no choice but to take action. You have no choice. It's like it's a do or die type of situation, right? And so the last thing that I want to add to that, obviously, if you're a practitioner, a light worker, however you want to identify yourself, or even if you don't identify yourself to any of these labels, if you're just a spiritual person in general, like you know about spirituality or like this concept, working with Archangel Michael is also very life-changing, because, I mean, obviously there's a lot of history about, you know, him, but having, for example, an Archangel Michael candle or oil is something that I highly recommend. And I recommend as well to just do it, to do like one permanent ritual. So instead of going into this like cycle of, let me, you know, do a ritual with Archangel Michael, like every time I'm in fear, like, no. You do that ritual once, you know, obviously after everything, after you've done transcendence. But obviously, whenever you have those feelings of discomfort, at least you're going to know what to do, right? You're not going to go running with your candles and shit. You're just going to do these steps where, again, you acknowledge the demons and you transmute it into whatever you want. So it's just going to be that cycle of healing, and life is going to get better and better and better the more you're going to do it. So hopefully that was like a clear episode. I know it's like, that's why I created this Unstuck, you know, workshop, is to have all these practical steps, you know, laid out. And this is actually the only offer that I have that is a low ticket offer. Like, it's the cheapest one that I have. And I usually hate using that word. And I try to stay away from low ticket offers, but it's extremely valuable, right, to the masses. And that's why the price is so low, because it has to, you know, be accessible to the majority of people. And obviously, if someone is not in a position to even buy that, I would recommend just listening to the meditations that I have on this channel, or listening to other podcast episodes to get more educated, but to really have this balance of like thoughts and emotions, right? So like, you listen to podcast episodes, but you also work with your emotions as well through these guided meditations, which are extremely powerful, especially when you listen to them at night, so your subconscious mind can absorb them. But yeah, I usually try to stay away from low ticket offers, because I know how valuable and you know, actually, I feel like the offers that I have are priceless, and I'm not being, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, like, these things can literally, change someone's lives, and not just that, it can alter the whole, destiny of this planet. So that's how powerful it is. And the only reason why I have to actually sell something is because when there's an exchange of money, there's also an exchange of energy. So what's actually even more powerful, like, a lot of people think, oh, when I'm gonna buy that workshop, I'm going to be able to use it, in a way that's very powerful, of course, but that's like 50% of the healing. The first 50, like the other half, is just you buying it, because you buying it already tells your subconscious mind that you're worthy of investment. So you've already done like half of the. Oh my God, there's an eagle in front of me. That's crazy. Okay, that just flew by the window. So it's very powerful when you start to invest in yourself. And I know there are so many spiritual teachers out there that are conning people and scamming people and just not giving them the right knowledge, or they're just giving them like pieces, like breadcrumbs. Because I've bought a lot of courses to see what people are doing out there, and I'm like, these are breadcrumbs. Like, how can you even have a shift or transformation? But can you imagine? People still have those incredible transformations with those breadcrumbs. Can you imagine when you start using your subconscious mind, which is like 95% of your brain power? That's like, yeah, exactly. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions about any of these topics that I talked about today. Hopefully that really helped you understand more concepts as well. And I'll see you tomorrow for our next episode. Bye.